A very good morning to you, Leah, and of course to our morning live viewers. Indeed, today is the second and last day of the AWEB conference, and like you've correctly cited, former President Thabo Mbeki will be addressing delegates here behind me shortly. We expect the program to commence around 9 o'clock, and today is a very important day because various researchers will be giving inputs and of course discussing the impact of democratic recession. But Leanne, I've got, like you said, two guests, and of course we've got various commissioners and various chairs of electoral bodies from around the globe, and I'm joined by Mekarabo, who's from Lesotho. She's a commissioner, and of course you would know that the country just recently went to the elections. Thank you so much for joining us on SABC News. Just perhaps share the experience. I mean, quite an interesting election outcome in Lesotho.
Thank you very much. Yes, you are right. We've just come out of an election in Lesotho, and we are awaiting now the new government to be in place soon. I'm not able to say the dates yet because the other issues are outside the Commission's hands. But it was quite a lovely event, quite challenging in its own ways.
And please share some of those challenges, perhaps.
Okay. It is surprising. Lesotho, as you would always recognize, has a very small population, around 2 million. And you would think elections in a smaller state should be different from any other elections. But no, that is not the way. And in this election, we drew quite a large number of international observers, from whom I think we gained a lot also. They kept us on our toes, asked us questions that helped us to realign ourselves wherever the gaps were. But I must say also, the teams at the IEC Lesotho worked so hard, and maybe this is the time to say thank you to everybody that took part.
You know, just listening to the former chair of AWEB yesterday, Mr. Rajiv Kumar, he cited some of the challenges that electoral bodies face. There's a trend, especially amongst, voters, especially young voters. It seems as if there's voter apathy. Do you experience the same in Lesotho?
Yes, we do. There have been challenges with voter turnout, which was mostly seen among the young people. But much as our data has not yet reached final stages in terms of analysis, I think in Lesotho this time around, we saw young people stand up and try to come and say, we need to participate in our democracy. I'm not going to be able to say how many of what ages, but generally, we felt younger people were standing up and saying, we are going to the polls. And some of them, we even had maybe 2 18-year-olds who stood for elections, though they didn't get the seats, but they have started the journey. And we are convinced that someday they will make great politicians.
Ms. Makwabacho, for somebody who's watching you from Lesotho who doesn't understand the importance of this conference, the General Assembly of AWEB, how would you explain it to them? And I mean, how would you explain the significance of this General Assembly of Lesotho being a part of AWEB and perhaps the lessons that you've learned as a commissioner?
Yes, this conference is very important for Lesotho and other countries too. We have to touch shoulders with each other as election management bodies. We have lessons to learn from other people, and we have things to share too. And this is a very important event that embraces the whole world to say, here we are, as people that facilitate democracy. How do we assist each other and enable our people? Dealing with issues such as the voter apathy thing are just examples of the few that are challenges in elections management.
Thank you so much for your time and all the best. Let me just bring in my second guest, who is from the PAC, no stranger to members of the media. Mr. Boer, thank you so much for joining us on SABC News. Perhaps before they start there, The importance of you as a political party coming here to this conference, what do you think you'll gain?
It's important that we share experiences with countries around the world on how do they conduct their elections. There are best lessons to be learned from other countries around the world. And we also have our own challenges. We also want to share with them our challenges here in the country. And as the PAC, we will do that today.
Today is a very important day. The electoral amendment bill is before parliamentarians. Do you think that the current bill in its form is actually correct? I mean, civil society had said it's a sham. They've labelled it as a sham and called on the president to reject it, called on the president not to sign it.
The PAC will support the current bill in its current form towards ensuring that we have the good elections. We ensure that the IEC is able to prepare for the forthcoming elections.
But
there may be issues that are here and there, but for us, it's a process. Remember, this is more or less the same process that we embark on even in local government elections. So we are happy with as it stands now as the PAC.
Okay, so if an independent candidate is watching this interview and, they could say it disadvantages them at some point, do you not think that this bill should be reviewed perhaps?
We can continuously do that, but we can only do that maybe after this forthcoming elections. It's important that we have this bill coming through so that we can able to prepare for the next election and we allow the IEC to prepare the necessary logistics. If we are not going to have this bill passed through Parliament today, it will be difficult for IEC to be able to prepare for the elections. And we don't want to have a situation where we are unable to have the elections. We know what happened with the COVID-19 epidemic, how the IEC struggled with the logistics. We don't want to find ourselves in that situation. We are saying that let's allow it to pass through. If there are issues, we'll learn from issues as and when we go to elections, but we will be part of the process that may also review them in future.
Mr. Bo, thank you so much for your time. And of course, Leanne, various views from various guests. Of course, we are awaiting the arrival of former President Thabo Mbeki, who will be addressing delegates shortly.